Okay, I'm going to get you up and running as fast as possible with Bookable Calendar. Once you have installed it on your Drupal website, that's where we're starting from. So I've already installed it. This is a base Drupal 10 site with only a very small amount of extra things installed. And you'll see once I've installed it, if I go to the Content tab, you have all your Bookable Calendar entities that you can then create. So you have the calendars. The calendar is, so we'll go for the example of you are a school or a business and you're trying to rent out or have people claim spots to multiple conference rooms. So a calendar would be conference room A, conference room B, conference room C. That would be 3 separate calendars that you would have. And then the openings, the calendar openings, are the repeating date field. They just hold the repeating date field values for your calendars. It's a separate thing because you might want to be like, here's all the dates for January is one opening. Here's all the dates for February is one opening, or however makes sense to you. If you have weird repeating dates and you want those to be separate entities, you can do them all in just one, but that's what calendar openings are. Booking contacts is once someone starts booking, the contact holds all their information, their email, the first name, last name, phone number, any kind of fields you want to put on that. Is what's held on the contact. And then the booking is the between an opening instance and the contact. And the opening instance is a programmatically generated entity based on your repeating date field. So you generally won't be managing things directly, but you could go in here and delete an individual one if you need to. So it is available for you. So we'll go ahead and create a new calendar. So we'll call this Conference Room A and put in a description. The success message is, and all of the help have help text. So after a user registers for this calendar, this is the success message that they would see. So thanks for booking this. Okay. Now the booking future time and the booking lead time, these are to set what values are available for someone to book. So the booking future time will stop someone from booking an opening 6 months in the future. By default, there is none. And you'll see there's an example. You can say plus 1 day, plus 1 month, plus 1 year. So we could do like plus, for this, we'll do plus 7 days. You can only book things this week. You can't book things for next week. So this would potentially stop people from claiming the conference rooms for the entire year. Booking lead time is, do you allow people to book things that are happening right now? And this now would be, it starts now, or starts technically, like 1 minute from now. So this would be like if you're conference rooms and they're free and people can just walk in, you don't really care if someone books one the second it's open. That doesn't matter to you. But if you're giving voice lessons or something, you might not want someone booking it and then just showing up without any warning, that you'd put like, hey, plus 1 day, I need a day's notice that you're booking it. So we'll leave that for right now. Max party size, an individual person, how many spots can they take? So let's say it's a conference room. A conference room isn't a great example because you wouldn't have multiple parties, but maybe you say that the conference room could only hold 7 people because that's how big the table is. So you wouldn't let someone go and claim more than 7. So you're at least telling them, hey, there's a limit of 7. If they want to try to fit 10 people in there, that's on them. Max open bookings per user. So this is kind of like what I said of not letting people claim for the whole year. This would block an individual user from claiming more than a set amount. So by default, that's 0, but you could set 2. So an individual user can't claim more than 2 future bookings. So if you're limiting this to just a week, one person cannot claim more than 2 conference room in 1 week, except for they could, once one's passed, they could go claim another one, but stop a person from doing all of it. Slots per opening. So this is, for the conference room example, I don't think this really applies. The answer would be 1, but slots per opening is how many people are you going to allow to book this? So if I go for the example, let's say it is group voice lessons is your, or group piano, or just any kind of group type of thing is the what this calendar is for. The slots per opening could be, we will allow 10 students at a time. So we'll do the slots per opening as 10. So 10 separate people could all book this. For a conference room, you probably don't want multiple people booking the same conference room at the same time. That wouldn't really make sense. But that means when I go to the page listing, it says there is 10 out of 10 spots still available for this. And once someone claims it, it can say, hey, now there's only 9 out of 10 spots available for this opening. So that's what slots per opening is. Now, this treats slots as parties. So you could, for example, if it's family voice lessons or like little kids voice lessons, you don't really care how many people are coming, but you're like, I can only teach 5 kids at a time. So you'd be like, hey, slots per opening is 5, but we're going to treat slots as parties. So really we're saying 5 parties, and however big those parties are, we don't really care. I know it gets a little bit confusing because it's a lot of stuff. There is help text and all of this, and I hope it makes sense. But yeah, so slots as parties is 5 separate parties, and each party can only be 7 people is what we currently have here. But I'm going to go ahead and turn that off and do slots per opening is 10, for example. Allow in-progress bookings. So like what I said for here on this now, if you have the booking lead time for now, if this is a conference room and you have 1 hour limits and it's 30 minutes into this opening and nobody's claimed it, it's empty, by default, I can't claim it. But if you say allow in-progress bookings, as long as there's slots available, it's going to let you claim that. Enable one-click bookings. This would only work if you allow users to be logged in. And this would make it so if a person is logged in, so we can pull their email and their name and that values that we need from them, that they just click a book button and it does an AJAX request and books it instead of going to a separate form. We're not going to turn that on right now. Notification settings. By default, we send emails to users and the admins when a booking has happened. You'll see that these are empty. There are defaults, which are under configuration system bookable calendar settings. And it's just, basic email subject like thanks for booking, and then it prints out all the values. And then, so yes, we want notifications. We can override the user email by clicking this and typing in here. We can email admins, yes or no. By default, it's going to do, I think if you don't choose anything, it just does who created this. But then we say, hey, any administrator role, or you can put individual emails to get emails on the admin side of a registration. And then active and enabled. Enabled, if you disable it, people can't go to the page anymore. But there's active, you could just stop allowing bookings, but have it still be visible. So if you disable active, all of the booking functionality should stop. So let's go ahead and save that. And now, hey, we have conference room A, and that's there, but there's nothing else to do from there. So we'll go there and now create an opening for conference room A. This title is only shown to admins. It's not displayed to users, so it's whatever makes sense for you. So I would do like conference room A openings, conference room March openings, whatever. And then it's an entity reference to conference room A. And we're going to say, when do we want to start this? And this is a repeating date field. So it's duration 1 hour. And we can say this repeats every hour, every 1 hour. It ends on, we'll go to like April 28th, but it really only repeats Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday between like those times. So you can just set up something like this. And so now there's 1 hour openings every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 8, 9, 10, 11, no, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what we do, and by default, if you remember, we set slots to 10. If I go and change here, I could say, but for this opening, for whatever reason, it's only 2 slots, and it would override the calendar setting. So if you have multiple openings, you can override it like that if you would like. Okay, so now this is going to create 217 opening instances, and it sends you this page. Doesn't really do anything, but now if we go back to Bookable Calendar, Conference Room A, you'll now see Thursday, March 23rd, 2023. There's these times. There's 10 of 10 slots available, all there. And we only set a week. So right now, recording this is Thursday at, 1 p.m. So this ends at Thursday next week at 1 p.m. I don't see the 1 p.m. one because it's technically like 12:58. So there you go. Only can see from now to the next day. Now, you've created your calendar and it is bookable. We're all good to go. So now I'll show when a user goes to book it, they click the book button and they put in their email, their party size, and who is the user. I only see the user field because I'm logged in as an admin. If you're not an admin, that field is hidden. If the users log in, we fill it in for them automatically, but we're not letting random users go and set this. So I'm going to say I want to claim 20 spots because we cannot. And it's going to say, oh, yes, I am an admin. I can do whatever I want. But in theory, that shouldn't work for normal people. So, but yeah, so now if you go here, hey, that one's overbooked. And now we're going to go ahead and just turn on one-click booking just to show off that real quick. If we click one-click booking, and now I can just go click book. All these are booked. And now we'll see that we are getting emails potentially. There we go. And we're getting, this is the booking to the user. Your booking is confirmed. You can view your booking here, and there is a login token that will authenticate them to manage this booking. So you don't need users to have to be logged in and have accounts. This token is a hash of some of the information on there, so it shouldn't be guessable. You would need to know like the opening, the email, and other data to generate the token. So, but this will give them, if I go ahead and say open it in like a different tab, I'm not logged in as admin here, and I can go ahead and delete that. Are you sure you want to delete it? Hey, I've deleted it. And look, I'm not logged in, and I just deleted that booking. But now as this is the admin one saying, hey, a new booking was created for conference room A, and a new booking was created, and here's all the information. So those are the two different emails that were generated, and you have now successfully created a bookable calendar that people can claim spots on. It's simple as that.